G.
G, day 7. Accompanied by a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Other Pale Ales are available. What have you got?
Cheers. Vagabond.
Nice. So, G. The letter G. Thank you. So, we start G with a film that I only saw last week or the week before, but that I'd wanted to see for a long time.
It's quite the build-up.
As a lover of Japanese cinema, but having only really seen the classic kind of, the oldie classics, this film is widely considered one of the best ones, and was in like the top 4 or 5 films of all time in Kinema Junpo, the Japanese cinema magazine's top films of all time. It's the 1953 Gate of Hell, which is a 3-strip Technicolor, glorious coloured wonder. So it's set in whenever it is, 12th century. But a lot of those Kurosawas and stuff, they're black and white, and that's how you kind of think of samurai films. This is like gaudy, super bright dresses and robes and stuff. And it's the story of a guy. The dogs are here again. It's the story of a samurai who takes part in a mission to get the shogun's daughter away from an invading force, and he does such a good job that the shogun offers him whatever he wants as a prize, and he chooses a woman who lives in the village, and the shogun laughs and's like, well, she's married, you can't have her. But then the shogun thinks it'd be quite fun to kind of stir it up and say, try and get her. So the guy tries to woo the lady, and in kind of very Shakespearean fashion, it all ends very tragically through things going a bit awry. And I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not into women as chattel.
Well, it's 12th century Japan.
Well, was it made in the 12th century though, is it?
No, but you can't say that things didn't happen that are from stories written in the 12th century.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out of it better than the others.
Spoiler.
Number 2 here is Gattaca. A fantastic science fiction film, but one that I haven't seen for a long time, and I would really like to revisit. Seen Gattaca?
Many years ago.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to that.
I wouldn't have said it had the artistic merits to be in these hallowed shelves though.
Well, we have had Dirty Dancing, Desperately Seeking Susan.
I've got no...
It's not about artistic merit.
It is.
Well, next up, Ghost. Which, like some of these ones we've mentioned, it's like a film from the 80s and 90s that requires nostalgia value. I hadn't seen this till 4 or 5 years ago, and I kind of expected it to be terrible and Dirty Dancing-esque.
What did you have against Swayze?
That he was in films like this and Dirty Dancing.
Great films.
Well, yeah, because what I found out was that it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I cried several times.
And you got to watch Roadhouse.
Yeah, I will do. I'm looking forward to it. Next up is another of our recent discoveries, if you remember. The Ghost and Mrs. Muir.
Be Still My Heart.
An excellent, excellent film.
I should have more credit.
Yeah, I think it should. We will have to put it on at some point. So it's 1947, it's Rex Harrison and Jean Tierney.
Delightful.
She's a widow? Yeah, she's a widow. She moves to a little cottage by the sea, and it turns out to be haunted by a salty captain.
Great character.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Next up, another Ghost. It's one of the favourites. It's the double nice digipack edition of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. So Ghostbusters is another of those films that's impossible not to watch for me when it's on. I very, very clearly remember going to see it in 1984. It stands up. It's phenomenal. And Ghostbusters 2, I remember going to see it at the cinema, and much as Ghostbusters 2 is maligned by many, I really like it.
people would malign it.
Oh, lots of people. It's not considered to be a worthy sequel at all. Even though it's got some of the most famous ghost-busting, like Do Re Egon is in that one. You know, it's one of the key Ghostbusters gags. It's a great film.
Yeah, don't need to convince me.
Lovely. Then the last of these films with Ghost at the start of it is Ghost in the Shell, which is the original manga one. So 1995 animated version, which is fantastic. And I really want to do a double bill with Akira, but we can't get Akira at the moment. It's being rested. Ghost in the Shell is... I mean, if you don't like Japanese science fiction, you'd hate it, but it's phenomenal. Much better than the remake with Scarlett Johansson. Next is the Girl with the Trilogy. So that's the extended versions of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Girl Who Played with Fire, and Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest.
Great.
Love them. Really good. My first encounter with these films went a little bit wrong. In the early days of the world of pirating, and of these having not been released in the UK, I obtained the 3 films to watch with some friends. We were very excited about it. Due to a file naming muddle up, we put on what we thought was the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and watched the entire film with a mixture of confusion and marvelling at the way they'd used flashbacks to tell a story that we hadn't seen previously, in what appeared to be a court drama with scenes of the brutality that we expected to be in the film. And only at the very end of it did we realise that we'd just watched part 3, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, without having seen either of the 2 before it. So that went really badly wrong.
You must have hated that.
Not as much as the 2 people in the room with me hated it, because it was my fault. But so I've been back and watched these. They're amazing. I don't think I've watched these extended ones, though, that are like 6 episodes of an hour and a half each, rather than 3 films. One day. Next to that is the, again, much maligned David Fincher's version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Not needed.
No, not needed. Nowhere near as good.
Why did you buy it? Because David Fincher.
David Fincher did a commentary on it.
Oh.
And there are bits of it I really like. And I like how it looks. It's just totally unnecessary. Daniel Craig, totally incorrect. Yeah. Then comes Gladiator, which I haven't seen for quite a long time. And there's quite something. But I think this is one of those Ridley Scott films where I kind of like the experience of watching it is better than the story or anything. Just because it's such a well-created world. And
I find that about Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You know what I mean?
The story is...
Yeah, not much happens really, but it's just lovely to watch, to be part of. And much as it's not lovely to be part of, it's amazing to watch Gladiator because of how it looks. And that's the 4K disc of it, because the Blu-ray was terribly messed up. It was a really bad, digitally enhanced, noise reduced. They all looked waxy. So I had to wait for the 4K. Then is our holiday trilogy, The Godfathers, that we seem to watch every time we go on holiday, which is good. You can't really go wrong, can you?
It's a manual for life.
Yeah. Whether you want to be a criminal or not a criminal.
Yeah.
You just want to be honourable. After that is Godzilla. So we've got 2 versions of the 1954 Godzilla. The lovely Criterion edition with one of my favourite features of a Criterion edition, the pop-up Godzilla. Always nice. But I've kept the BFI version of it, because I think the BFI version's got different extras. It's got a totally different commentary. The Criterion one's got both versions. It's got the 1954 Japanese one, it's got the 1956 one that's the Japanese one with Americans cut into it to make it more palatable to American audiences. So it's got Raymond Burr that played Ironside as a journalist who's in Tokyo kind of telling you what's happening, and then it cuts to the original bits of the film because Americans were daft even in 1954. Couldn't watch anything foreign.
Can't read a film.
No, can't read a film. Next to those is the remake, like the new Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which I think has, again, overall, I don't think it's a great film, but it had some incredible scenes in it. The bit where they dropped out of the plane and parachuted in. Do you remember when we went to see this at cinema? There's that amazing bit where the soldiers drop into the city from a very high plane. And
I get confused between this and that thing with Dan Goodman.
Oh, Cloverfield.
Yeah. Because that's all running through the streets as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Similar. Big kaiju. Big Japanese monsters. I haven't seen the new the Godzilla King of Monsters yet. I've heard it's terrible, but I really like this one. And it's Gareth Evans. Is he called Gareth Evans? He is, isn't he? That directed Gareth Edwards. That also directed Rogue One, and he'd made Monsters before, which we'll come on to later. But he's an amazing British filmmaker who seems to be going from strength to strength with special effects films. Next, after that, we have Der Golem. Wie in die Welt kam. The Golem, How He Came into the World. 1920 silent horror film that we showed at the Pavilion.
Mm-hmm. Which Golem came first?
This isn't Golem, this is Golem.
Oh.
So the Golem is a Jewish legend of it's a bit like Frankenstein. The rabbi creates a creature from clay in order to protect the ghetto. And like in Frankenstein, it kind of goes a little bit out of control, accidentally hurts somebody, and then they all chase it around with pitchforks.
Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy. It's a great film. Expressionist German silent film. It's beautiful. It's like a lot of those things from the 1910s, 20s in Germany. It could be seen to have some anti-Semitic undertones, but then the director was Jewish. But there's like at the end there's a scene where all of the like beautiful white dressed little children are all sitting in the town square, and the like raggedy beardy black caped Jews come out of the synagogue, and all the kids go ah and run away. But it's like they're running away from the scrappy people, but it looks to our eyes now like it's properly anti-Semitic, but I don't think it was intended to be. It's a great film. Next is another David Fincher, which is Gone Girl, which is a lovely edition with a copy of the Amazing Amy book.
Oh, wow.
From that Amy's writing in the film.
They've gone to that trouble.
It's nice, isn't it? I really like Gone Girl.
It's not as good as the book.
But many things aren't. But as a stylish Fincher thriller, again, it's good. It's not one of his greats, but yeah, it's nice, that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I can't believe. Is this?
I don't know whether it already existed. That Gillian.
It's a lot of effort.
Maybe Gillian Flynn had written it. Okay, so next is Gone with the Wind. So there's two copies of Gone with the Wind. There's a nice Blu-ray copy, but I've also kept the DVD because the DVD's got like loads of extra documentaries and stuff that aren't on the Blu-ray. It's got a whole disc of documentaries about the stars. The Blu-ray's just the film and a commentary. But the good thing about the Blu-ray is it's in one piece, so you don't have to watch it and then take the disc out and put the other one in like that. But next is another all-time favourite. Can't go wrong. Can't watch it. Can't not watch it every time it's on TV. Is Goodfellas. It's pretty sweet. And that's a nice edition as well with a book, 36-page book in it. It's lovely.
What's the book about?
Goodfellas, I thought. It's a making of, I think.
We should take a photo of some of these books.
We could do.
I've got my question for today for you.
Well, don't do it yet. Then next to Goodfellas is another of the films here that I would really like to go back to, because the first time I saw it I thought it was amazing, but it was another of the films that I for some reason put off watching for a long time. You know, sometimes when you know, because I say it to you all the time, but you know, sometimes when everyone tells you something's amazing and then you watch it and it's not.
Yeah, that's just a human reaction.
Good Will Hunting.
Well, that is as good as people say.
Yeah, but I kind of was like, it's not going to be, is it? Look at the cover.
Yeah, that's not a great
It's like,
cover.
I mean, the Dead Poets Society covers like that. There's something about Robin Williams films. They've got like Robin Williams standing looking slightly wry, and that's the cover. Good Will Hunting's so much better than that cover gives it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see it again. I thought it was fantastic. Really good. Next, another of the best, The Goonies. That's a nice collector's edition as well. It's another well, so this is another thing that I've had on VHS, DVD, several DVDs, Blu-ray. Oh, it's got a little Empire magazine in it. It's got treasure maps and stuff.
Oh, let's see the treasure map.
But I only saw Goonies for the first time when I was about 23, something like that. Had the tape, the cassette with a book where you turn the page at a certain time when the sound comes on the cassette, and that was all I had of
That's
Goonies
hilarious.
for my entire childhood. So I knew it inside out, but not in full.
Oh my word, look at this.
It's storyboards.
The song at the end was on the radio the other day.
Which song at the end?
You know when they see the ship
Yeah.
and the music starts?
Or was it on Radio 3 as part of the...
It's an introduction to a song
Oh.
by someone that I can't remember.
We shall look into it. I don't know. It's nice though, isn't it?
Gorge.
There was a better version of this though, but I didn't feel it was totally worth buying, which was it came.
But there's not a squid in it. What's
There
this?
is in the deleted scenes that are on here.
What?
Well, when they go in the water by One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship.
Oh, why was that deleted?
Because it's terrible.
I want this.
The deleted scenes are amazing because
Let's,
it's one of those films where,
Let's take a photo of it.
you know, a lot of the time when deleted scenes are just like, you can see why they were cut out. Like, you can see why they were cut out of this, but at the same time, because Goonies is so kind of iconic and it feels like a world that you live in, seeing the deleted scenes from it is a bit like seeing the deleted scenes from Star Wars. It feels like somebody's shown you some photos of your childhood that you hadn't seen before. It's like, it doesn't feel like, oh, what's the point of seeing these? It's like, oh, we get to spend another 5 minutes with Chunk and Mikey.
So, is there
nice.
in that pack the scenes of the squid?
Yeah, I think so.
I've never.
Yeah, deleted scenes, they're on there.
We're gonna have to look at that this weekend.
Okay. I'm always happy to do that. Then next up is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Beautiful.
Fantastic, and can't really go wrong there, can we?
I think it's Wes Anderson at his best, and all of the players at their best.
It's got some amazing performances in, isn't it? I mean, it is very much looked at as being a bit like, if you don't like Wes Anderson, you're really not going to like that one.
No, it's
'Cause it's the
quintessential Wes
yeah.
Anderson.
But it's like when the trailers just come out for the new one. And there were comments of like, oh, just a bit like a Wes Anderson film. Well, it is.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I like.
yeah, the fact that he's relatively young and has his own genre.
Yes. Yeah, and
He
people,
created his own world.
other
It's
people make films that get compared like as this feels like a Wes Anderson film. That's quite amazing, isn't it?
Mm.
There aren't that many, but like there's Spielberg and Kubrick and Hitchcock, like the big names get
Yeah. He's created that world.
that. Yeah. Next up is La Grande Illusion, Jean Renoir's World War One film. So we showed this at the cinema as well. So this is a big character study of a prisoner of war camp in World War One, with I think it's a French, a German, and there's definitely French and maybe English soldiers in it at the same time, and it's got the director Erich von Stroheim as like the camp commandant, and it's a massive like just humanist story, anti-war story about how they all actually get on when they're in prison together. It's nice. And it's Jean Renoir. Did Boudou save from drowning?
And we've been to his house.
We've been to his father's house.
Oh.
So Auguste Renoir was the painter who was his dad. But at the house there was stuff about the films, wasn't there? There was like an outbuilding that had a Jean Renoir thing with the film playing. Where was it? South of France somewhere. That was a great day.
Yeah.
With a painting of a man that looked like my dad.
Yeah. He looked exactly like your dad.
Yes.
You could be related to him.
Well, Dad's mother's side of the family is Renoir.
Coincidence?
Coincidence? And then last, but definitely not least in the G's, is Gremlins.
Best Christmas film.
Yeah. It's just so good. So good. It's a great Christmas film. That's another one. When Gremlins came out, what was Gremlins? 85? 84. Same as Ghostbusters. In fact, were they not? They were on the same day, maybe. So Gremlins came out in 1984, so I was 7. It came out at Christmas, and I remember going to a bookshop with my mum in the run-up to Christmas, and picking up the Gremlins novel, because I'd seen that Gremlins existed as a thing. There'd been adverts on telly, and I picked up the novel and I was looking through the photos, and she slapped it out of my hand and was like, "Don't look at that, it might come for Christmas." And that's all I ever had of Gremlins, because I was too little to go and see it at the cinema. And I had the novel with the photos in the middle. Oh no, and then I did have the tape with the book again of Gremlins. So into that again, I don't think I saw Gremlins till I was probably 20.
Explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Similarly, Back to the Future, I was over 20 when I saw it for the first time, had the tape and the book.
I mean, no one had tapes and books.
We didn't have a VHS recorder. Hence why.
But why didn't you just go to the cinema?
Because it was 15. Yeah, it was Malvern Cinema. You couldn't get in unless you were 15.
Gremlins was a 15.
It's only recently that it's come down to a 12.
Wow.
So there's your G's. Good old Gremlins, finishing that off. So, Desert Island.
Yeah.
Okay, Desert Island is probably reasonably easy here. I'm going to take Goodfellas. I'm going to take Ghostbusters. This is much easier, because there's loads of stuff in here I love, but there's stuff in here that's like top tier for me. So Goodfellas is coming, Ghostbusters is coming, and I think probably Godfather is coming, but then there's two gangster films in G. Yeah.
That could be allowed.
Godfather, and not Godfather 2, even though Godfather 2 is potential. Oh. Godfather 2 is better, isn't it? But I think I would take.
I couldn't decide between them.
I think I'd take Godfather, because I can remember Godfather 2 at the end of watching Godfather, I think. Yeah, so those are my three. And what, you were going to ask something else?
Yeah. So my question to you is, what do you think is the best narrated film of all time? Do you want to think about it and let me know tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my second question to you.
Go on.
I saw this on Facebook yesterday. It says, you can really learn a lot about a person's character based on where they know Tim Curry from. So my question to you is, where do you know Tim Curry from?
It.
I don't know what that says about you. I know him from Annie.
Is he an Annie?
He's, the charlatans that come and pretend to be her parents.
Oh. I've never seen it that far in. We didn't get that far, did we?
Oh.
I couldn't take it anymore.
No, you couldn't take musicals.
I think I probably saw Legend before I saw it, but I don't think I was aware that was Tim Curry as the devil. Even though that's one of his prime things. He's never Rocky Horror Picture Show for me, because that's only a recent watch, a couple of years ago.
I've never seen it.
It's actually really funny. I enjoyed it. I don't see why it's the greatest thing of all time, but it was enjoyable. And I think he's the greatest Pennywise. Much as some of the new It film was good, like better realised than the 90s TV one, he's a much better Pennywise than Skarsgård was. Even though Skarsgård was good. But Pennywise will always be Tim Curry.
Okay.
Or did you say Mark Curry? Blue
Mark?
Peter. I've just been doing all that and it was Mark Curry. No, Tim Curry's, I think every time I've read it, it's been Tim Curry that I see when I'm reading.
Let's do all the
Pennywise.
Tims. Tim Roth.
What about Tim? How do I know Tim Roth? Pulp Fiction.
Tim Robbins.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Timothy Spall.
Ooh. What if Alfie St. Pet?
What other Tims are there?
Brooke Taylor, that just died. The Goodies.
Yeah.
Tim Peake. Tim Burgess. Tim Rice.
Yeah.
Tim Rice, Tim Curry, Tim Poppadom. Matt. Timothy Dalton.
Yes. Well, he's only did Bond, right?
No, Flash Gordon.
Oh.
Freeze, you bloody bastards. That's the Tim Dalton.
I think we've exhausted Tim's.
Tim Burton.
He's not in things.
Timothée Chalamet. Who will forever have a peach in his hand.
I think we're done.
Yeah. Good questions.
Yeah.
Good Tim outbreak.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Tom's tomorrow.
Tom's.
Oh,
Ooh.
I think we should tell our listeners
Mhm.
what our new ideas were about what we're going to do after this.
Okay, so we've got another 20 episodes of this to go till we hit Z, and then
Or each other.
yes, then we're going to do some episodes on the stuff that's in the unwatched shelves,
Which is alphabetized.
and I think we should probably do like a shelf per episode. There's 5 shelves. So
Just a
that
quick
works
warning,
nicely.
there's as many in there as there are.
Yeah, but they're in box sets, so you can kind of talk about, oh, this is the Charlie Chaplin box set. You don't have to go through all the films in it again. And then we were going to do some side episodes of films chosen cruelly by Ben from this collection that Nick hasn't seen yet. And we will come on, talk about the film for a couple of minutes, then we'll go drifting away, we'll watch it, and then when we come back we'll talk about what we thought of it.
Yeah. You're choosing me one film from each letter
Yeah.
that I haven't seen, and we're going to watch it every Sunday, and then we're going to come back and we're going to review it.
Yes, so if you're listening at home, those episodes you can play along with, because if you haven't seen the
Play
film,
along.
you could also pause at the point where we go off to watch it. You could go and watch it, and then you can come back and talk about it with us.
We'll have to give
yourselves.
people some notice for that.
Well, no, but because they can just be played at any point, can't they? Like,
guess so.
I fancy watching X. Oh, there's an episode of that on it. I'll go and watch. Yeah. So the A that we are doing on sometime this weekend,
Sunday.
Sunday night maybe, is The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
How long's that one?
It is 2 hours and 33 minutes.
It's going to cut into my Peaky Blinders time, isn't it?
Well, it's in a similar world, so
Mm.
yeah, that's A. I've been gentle on you and not gone for the 3-hour wuxia or audition.
I mean,
It's a soft start.
okay.
There will be Japanese.
Takeshimishi.
Takeshi Miike.
Yeah.
You'll have one of them later. I don't know which one it'll be. Because I haven't got visitor queue. It's on Mubi.
Well, we've got Mubi.
I know, but you don't want to watch that.
I just have one request.
Go on.
Can they not all be the white man's hero's tale?
No, they're fine. Yeah. That's doable.
Great.
But I'm also trying to pick ones that you haven't seen, and also, well, obviously they have to be ones you haven't seen, but also things that may be of a type, a genre that you haven't explored much. So that's probably not a good example, but it's just a beautiful film that I'd like to see.
Okay.
But you will have to watch some Japanese horror and some Russian shit and
Russian.
some Russian shit, something silent.
I mean, I watched that. What was that long thing when we were ill?
That was Der Nibelung.
And I got quite into that by the end.
It's brilliant. But that's jumping ahead by about 6 episodes. That's 5 hours long.
Yeah. Felt longer.
Well, I was ill, wasn't I?
Yeah.
So we just sat and watched it. So there we go. So so there'll be further things to waste your time on during lockdown.
Long may it continue.
Long may it continue.
Cheers to that.
So till tomorrow.
Auf Wiedersehen, pet.
Auf Wiedersehen, pet. Tatty bye.